Hello, everyone. Welcome to our essential oil efficacy study for pain, digestion, and stress. We are moving into phase 2. So congratulations on completing your first week. It has been a joy to see all of your comments and testimonials and questions and engagement on the Facebook page. We've really loved that. It's been actually quite moving to read all of your testimonials. So we really appreciate your engagement and letting us know what's going on for you and how you're feeling and the results that you're getting from the oils. And I do want to let you know and remind you that I know some of you are having amazing results right out of the bat, and I love that. It's really great to see. And some of you aren't. Some of you are not noticing anything, or maybe you've even had a little bit of a negative response to the essential oils. And we just want to remind you that that's actually normal, and not everybody is the same, and that we are giving you our first go-to for these issues, but everybody is different, and oftentimes it can be a little bit of trial and error. Like we said in the last webinar and spoke about pharmaceutical medicines, sometimes you have to try a couple before you get the right one for you. So if you're not feeling results, please don't feel discouraged. We're moving into another option for the phase 2. And then you could also work with your wellness advocate that invited you to the study, and they can also help make some recommendations for what you have going on. So we just want to remind you of that it's a process. And if you stay committed to the process, we are committed to helping you find a solution. So what we're going to do today is Stephanie's going to share a little bit of her story with you. And then Dr. Josie's going to talk about some foundations of health. And then we're going to move into explaining the phase 2 protocols. Okay, so we're going to jump right in, and I'm going to hand this over to Stephanie.
Okay, thank you, Aisha. Hi, everybody. So I wanted to start by sharing my story of how I got interested in essential oils. I was already using lots of herbs and other things to help support chronic fatigue-like symptoms that I'd been dealing with since I had my first child, which was actually 13 years prior. I had a lot of trouble in postpartum with sleep. I'd never had anxiety or insomnia or anything like that in my life, but for some reason, the childbirth experience, I think that what it did was it made my adrenal system shut down, and I couldn't sleep. I was just all adrenaline. I couldn't even lower my arms. I was like this, and I'd have 3 nights in a row, no sleep. It was really, really horrible. And I still didn't recover. After a couple years, I felt better and I could function, but I was still suffering from chronic fatigue-like symptoms 13 years later. When I started using the oils, I wasn't thinking of them for this problem at all. One of the first things I did with them was to use them for my kids. They had lice. And so the whole family used lavender, melaleuca, rosemary, and geranium in a blend. And we just put it, rubbed it into our scalps with a carrier oil and did the shower cap thing. I've got some cute pictures of that. And it worked really well for the lice. And it also had 2 positive side effects for me. One of them is it got rid of my flaky scalp. I had psoriasis condition that I'd had for years. I tried everything I could think of for, and it actually just completely went away for a year. And then when it came back, I started using doTERRA's shampoo, and I've never had it since then. So that was amazing and surprising that happened. And the second thing, which was even bigger for me, is that I slept through the night for the first time in 13 years. Since I'd had babies, I had not slept through the night. And I actually had a dream and another dream, and it was just the deepest, best sleep I'd had. And I think it's because of the geranium lavender. I still use geranium for this sometimes. And I've used it with a lot of people that sleep more deeply with geranium. But in any case, I have done so much research on chronic fatigue symptoms, and I know that sleep debt is something that can cause you to not heal. And even though I'd been doing acupuncture every other week and taking tons of supplements, I was not really healing. So it really was me being able to catch up with my sleep that completely changed my health. So within like the first 3 months of using these oils every day, it was just like this whoosh, like my level of joy came up. I had no more seasonal affective issues or energy issues. Just amazing. And I wanted to talk for a minute about why I think this worked and how this goes beyond just geranium for me. So I really believe that essential oils work on a deeper level and much more holistically than one might imagine. So you may know, in addition to being a clinical herbalist, I'm also a functional nutritionist, and I practice craniosacral therapy and other types of energy work. So I've actually found something very profound about using the oils of this high quality. I've discovered that I can use just the whole bottles of oil to move energy without opening the bottle, which is really amazing. And I also understand why this works, and I wanted to explain that to you. So everything on the planet has a measurable frequency, and we usually use megahertz to talk about it. So our bodies, our cells, flowers, rocks, food. Low vibrations are associated with things like fatigue and depression, viruses, cancer, poor immunity, while high vibrations are associated with vibrant emotional and physical health. And so I'm going to tell you about some of the levels that different things have. So green foods have a vibration of 65 to 75 megahertz. Fresh herbs have a frequency of 20 to 27 megahertz. Canned and processed foods have 0 megahertz frequency. Cancer has a frequency of 42 megahertz. And most of you, I'm sure, can tell the difference between eating an apple from an organic orchard right off the tree versus like the Burgerville drive-through apples that are prepackaged and processed. Like, we can tell when we're having something of high quality, whether it's food or anything else. And so essential oils actually have the highest frequency of anything known to mankind on the planet. Some of them, they're all different levels. So here are a few levels we can get from this. So peppermint has a frequency of 78 megahertz, so much higher than some of our best food. And blue tansy, which is in the deep blue imbalance some of you may have been trying this week, has a frequency of 105 megahertz. Lavender, which is in the stress study this week, has a frequency of 118 megahertz. And rose oil is the highest vibration frequency of anything on the planet at 320 megahertz. So my feeling about these oils is that including them in your daily life for whatever purpose, whether it's in your shampoo or cleaning or using them for stress, diffusing them, using them in their lotion, no matter what, like bringing them in your life every day will uplift your life and your level of vitality. This I've seen over and over again. It's certainly been true to me. We live in a world with a lot of cement and automobiles, and there's a lot of foods that are processed and things, and some of us live more in nature than others, but I think we can agree that some of the vibrancy of the natural world due to like industrialization has gone away. It's not there for us. So this is an amazing opportunity to have something in your purse. Like, I carry this with me everywhere, my oils, and it's just something I'm so grateful for, to pull out of my bag this thing with like the best little bits of earth energy for healing, and just to take it out and use it on myself every day. It's just such a gift. So I hope that you'll find deeper purposes beyond just plugging in, ginger for digestion. I hope you'll experiment with more of these and using them more every day to get really the like most profound benefit that I know. That's all I wanted to share. And actually, that's not all I wanted to share. I wanted to read some testimonials because, as Aisha said, we're really excited about what you've been saying. And I'm going to start with Lori Jacobson. She said, 3rd day using balance, and I'm so noticing a difference with my focus, my energy, my sense of well-being. I feel calm on the inside, which isn't easy for me. And shout out to Rachel Gross-Hess. And Rebecca Collins Brown said, I had a day of travel the other day, and as usual, my stomach was filled with dread and anticipation. This woman hates flying. I decided to go with my balance blend instead of a pharmaceutical to calm me. Literally within less than 1 minute, I felt a noticeable reduction in nausea and nervousness. And that's to Carly Ingboom. And I have to say, like, I had an emergency landing a couple years ago, like terrifying, wasn't scared. Totally at peace with whatever would happen, and I use balance. So I agree with that one. Amanda Lindsay Lowe, day 3, said, I'm still using Deep Blue for the bruise. It's kept the bruise from going to the purple blue coloring. I am amazed at this. I'm using Deep Blue for my ankle and knee. It really helps with this northern Kentucky crazy weather and staying on my feet all day. I've been a little stressed and have felt it in my neck and shoulders. I applied Deep Blue for the first time last night. The cooling sensation felt really good. And that's Michael Lowe, Kelly, and Kelly Stamberg. Sorry, Kelly. I don't know how to say your last name. And then Yasmin Divinity said to Mandy, OMG, I'm stunned right now. I was so late to the party in starting my protocol, but after just using the oil a bit for the past day, there's an incredibly noticeable difference in my digestion. It is feeling so much healthier already. I am amazed, so excited, and so grateful. So thank you all for sharing, and everyone else whose share I didn't get to read. Okay, I'm going to pass this back to Josie to talk about some of what we use to support foundations of health, even before we bring in the oils.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Wow. Those testimonials and on the page, I mean, those are just, the first, it's just a smattering there. It's just incredible, the testimonials we have been seeing. So we've been receiving so many of these testimonials and great stories. And what's remarkable for us is that these are people who are just trying one oil, right? And just the oils. But what I wanted to go over a little bit is this idea of the foundations of health, because if you get a little more technical, the essential oils, what they are doing in our bodies is they're plugging into receptor sites. This is why they have such an immediate efficacy with us. But what they are not, I want to be clear with everyone, they are phytochemicals, natural ones, right? Plugging in to our receptor sites on our cells. The essential oils are not nutrition. So one thing we say in naturopathic medicine is one way you can look at the root of all disease is to say that it is two things. You look at the root and you could say that it is really a level of cellular malnutrition and toxicity. And when you have these two things going on, our bodies are really having a difficult time healing themselves. And so the essential oils work in so many beautiful ways in our body, and they very much help with our toxicity and healing that and helping our bodies to work with removing and getting the toxins out of our bodies. But this idea of cellular malnutrition, they need help with that. So there's so many things, and you're seeing with just one oil that people are trying in the study, all these great effects. And yet there can be more and it can be better. And so what we've seen over and over and over again in the past years of working with this company, with these products, is that there is a certain amount of magic that happens for people when they bring in cellular nutrition, being able to fortify and nourish their cells at that cellular level together with the phytochemical reactions of working with this natural medicine of the essential oils at the cellular level. And it's like, that's when I like to say, this is when the magic happens and people are able to really, truly start a healing process and heal themselves in very deep ways. So Aisha was speaking to the fact that some people are not having these kind of, reactions with just Deep Blue or just Digestion or just Balance, right? And that's okay, because know that you're just working with the tip of the iceberg. These are the most common things that we start with very first, this one oil. But a lot of our process, pain, digestive issues, and stress and anxiety, these are complex issues. They are multifactorial. And so it's amazing to see how many people are having grand results from just this one thing. That's what we think is so fantastic. But if you take a step back and you say, well, let's honor these occurrences for people and assume that maybe they are a little more complex and that we might need to look at it and have a little bit more of an overall protocol for people to be working with this. And so that's where we would like to plant the seed and to bring in this idea of doTERRA's lifelong vitality pack. This is what you see here. It is a trio of supplements, and this is what we truly, truly have seen the most profound results with chronic and more serious, but just every day. The idea is that almost all of us have what we would call more serious health concerns, autoimmunity, profound digestive results. Like, I don't know how it's so common to have irritable bowel syndrome now, or all different types of that, all of the stress and anxiety and mood disorders. These kind of issues are very common, sleep problems, very commonplace now. And we are seeing profound results. But what we see is when people bring the oils together with this foundation of supplemental nutrition, what we see is that our world is not what it was in terms of being able to receive nutrition from the food we eat. And when I graduated from naturopathic school 20 years ago, I truly believed that you could get everything you needed from your diet. And the last 20 years has profoundly shifted. And definitely, if you look over our evolution of the last 70 years of what's happened with the amount of chemicals and toxins into our environment, and what our body is dealing with, we don't receive the nutrition we need, even when we're eating an all organic, very healthy diet. So we pretty much perceive that this is not supplementation. This is nourishment and food for your cells. And your cells need this to do the very basic metabolic processes for things like having active and healthy neurotransmitters. That starts in our GI tract, and that being healthy, and having correct metabolism to rid yourself of all these toxins we're exposed to just on a daily basis. Even if you eat organic, it's huge to be able to do that. You need this extra supplemental nutrition. That's how we've perceived it, and the profound results we see when people bring this combination together. So quickly, the Lifelong Vitality Pack is 3 bottles together, and you get them all in one. So it's really easy. You just kind of sort of go for the one thing, the Lifelong Vitality, and it's covering all of these bases. We have the first one, which is the Microplex. This is a whole food multivitamin and mineral complex. This is food. This is not synthetic supplementation. It works in your body in a completely different way. And I've always loved the saying, you're not what you eat, you're what you absorb. And absorption is incredibly important. And that has everything to do with eating whole foods. And so this is a whole food multivitamin and mineral complex. The second bottle is the EO Omega. And again, this is not just fish oil. This is an omega oil complex that has beautifully perfect blends of land and sea, right amounts of these omega oils that we need. Remember I talked about that cell membrane in the first webinar and how that is made up of fats? Well, the toxicity in our environment that we're exposed to, just all the plastics, a lot of our cells, that cell membrane is not so healthy anymore. And we need to help it with really good fat supplementation, like the fish oils and good land oils like flax seeds and echium that are in here. That's going to help change and get your cell membranes healthy again. This is incredibly important for all over health. And this also has a beautiful blend of essential oils in it. So you're getting omega oils and essential oils in the second bottle. The third bottle, the Alpha CRS, is an incredible blend of 19 different strong, powerful antioxidants working in a beautiful synergistic blend. And so you're not just taking, frankincense here and curcumin there and resveratrol here and CoQ10. Those are all different, but they're all in here. Everything you would want for that incredible energy level and cellular vitality, it's all in the Alpha CRS. So this is what is contained in the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And we wanted to let you know kind of here about this. And this was huge for me when Aisha introduced this to me, I loved the oils as a naturopath when I was practicing and as a doctor. You know, this was my specialty, supplements, high level supplements. And I was dubious. I was like, hey, this is essential oil company. Whatever, I have my supplements. But hopefully you all watched Kate Kettlewell's video. We had it posted yesterday. I was friends with Kate. She was in our community at that time. And she was taking the highest level supplements I knew of, all my doctor line ones, and suffering terribly. Still with her arthritis, taking between, she said, 4 to 6 Aleve and or prescription, pain medications daily. And that's really not a good prognosis for your liver at 30. She was about 34, I believe. And again, Stephanie just told you her story. You know, when Stephanie was started working with the Lifelong Vitality and the oils, she was an herbalist and a very, very natural person. So she was already working with really great things. It wasn't like she just started using this since the doTERRA essential oils and the Lifelong Vitality was her first introduction to natural medicine. No, she had been working with incredible forms of natural medicine before this and then had these profound results. Same thing with Kate Kettlewell. This got my attention. And so I did look at them, and I can tell you the result is I believe that this trio is by far and large the best for its money and for its power and its efficacy, the best deal and the best products you can receive on the market today. So I fully, as a doctor, back them up as incredible food, whole food and supplementation for us and for ourselves and for our healing process. So I wanted to plant the seed and let everyone know that if you're not receiving, a full benefit from, let's say, the Digestion or the Deep Blue or these first products that you're introduced to, there is a whole other foundation that we would love to explore with you after the study. Aisha or Stephanie, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I think you nailed it there, Jo.
Thank you, Jo.
Yeah.
Why don't you read this beautiful testimonial?
Yes. So let's go on to this testimonial. And hold on, everyone. I'm going to bring myself to,
Are you seeing it on your side?
There we go. Okay, yes. So this is from Candace Allen. And wow, thank you, Candace. So she was watching Kate's video, Kate Kettlewell, and she said, thanks for sharing, Kate. I also live with autoimmune challenges, multiple sclerosis, and I was enjoying the benefits of oils and then tried the LLV, the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And those supplements, and here's in all capitals, you guys read it, changed my life. I started feeling so good that within a few months, I stopped taking the fatigue medication. And over the last few years on the supplements and oils, my health has improved so much, I will never go without it. So what a beautiful testimonial. And we have many, many more like this, in fact. All right, so let's move on to phase 2. Yay! So everyone, awesome. So you've been trialing Deep Blue, and now with the pain study. So now for the people in the pain study, we're going to be moving on in phase 2 to the Aroma Touch blend. And for the digestion study, you've been trialing the Digest Zen oil blend. You're going to move on to the Terrazyme supplement. And for the stress and anxiety, you've been trialing the balance blend, and we're going to move on to lavender oil. So a few things we want to reiterate: some safety. We've seen some mostly positive, but some ups and downs. People with this amount of people, we have a large amount of people in the study, which is so fantastic. We always have a large amount of experiences. We are all individual. One thing we wanted to remind or state was how very safe essential oils are when used correctly. So one of the things doTERRA released it was 2 years ago, was they've been collecting over the last, that was about, for them, 7 to 8 years. They have an adverse reaction line to call in or to do emails to, and they have been tracking adverse reactions from specifically doTERRA essential oils and in use. And so far, within 7 to 8 years of the company going, so this is with over 5 million users, their adverse reaction percentage rate is 0.004%. So that's really quite low. Let's assume not everyone who has an adverse reaction actually reports it, because that's the reality. So let's even take off a whole 100th decimal level. Even if we did that, that would still be 0.04%. So knowing with correct use of essential oils, there's been a single reported death. I don't know if there's a prescription medication that can on the market today that can tout that. Just putting some relativity to the safety. Not to say we shouldn't always be reiterating our safety protocols. So for everyone, you always want to, when you're first beginning using an oil you've never used before, or essential oils in general, yes, patch test. So here we have using topical, and with internal, start with just 1 drop in water and work up to the full dose slowly. That's always wise. That's what we recommend. Dilution is it is recommended. It is not always, you don't always have to do it. With my caveat as a doctor is I would say with certified pure therapeutic grade. If you are not using certified pure therapeutic grade, or i.e. doTERRA essential oils, which are the only ones that are certified pure therapeutic grade, I would not recommend using them non-diluted. So a lot of the information from aromatherapy from the past long years ago, knowing that it's a little bit of apples and oranges. Sometimes they did not have the level of testing ability that we have now and that doTERRA is doing with their CPTG. So a lot of the times there can be contaminants and synthetics that is what is causing so many of the adverse reactions. And so when you take into those considerations about dilution and about safety, just know that it is a slightly different playing field at this point. And I'd like to highlight again, this is something I've coined, my SFDD. It is what I call the therapeutic model of using essential oils, and it's using them in small, frequent, daily doses. So know that when you are using oils, more at one time is not going to give you a higher or better result. What you want to do is, if you need to use them for more, you want more intensity, or you want to match the intensity of what is going on for you. If you have a cold or a flu or something, and it's like you need more medicine at that moment in an acute situation, what you want to do is use your oils more frequently. So you never need to use more oil in a dose. It's about just using them more frequently if you want that more intensity. And you do that in short periods of time. So we'll talk about this more as you continue to work with the oils. But knowing that if you are trying to work with something that does require more attention up front, like a cold or flu or something like that, that's not in the purview of the study, you would use them. Or like, let's say you just pulled your back pain, you just pulled a muscle and you're like, you could use the oils more frequently, every half an hour to 20 minutes on that area, right? You wouldn't continue to do that forever. That's what we call an acute versus a chronic. So these are later things that you'll be hearing from us. And is there anything else you guys want to cover about this? Is what we've been seeing on the feed and kind of addressing some of the issues that have been coming up for people?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, Josie. You did a great job in doing a review. I don't think we need to go over the other things, the keeping ears, nose, etc. But we just wanted to reiterate the safety and using them again in the small, frequent daily doses. And if you begin to introduce them to other people, it's really important to give them guidance on this model, just to make sure you know how the essential oils are going to affect every individual. just so they have a positive experience and you guide them correctly. Okay.
One of my favorite oils, let's go on, to introduce to other people is Balance, because it is so gentle and it's already diluted in coconut oil. So know that you're already working with a balance of oils that is already diluted, and it has a much lower rate of kind of having adverse reaction than many other oils. So it's usually a really nice one to safely share with other people.
Well, one thing I'll add too is that we do have a line of our oils called the Touch line, and they are already diluted. So if you have really small children, or you're super sensitive, or elders, or you have really sensitive skin, or you're pregnant, then the Touch line is wonderful because they're already diluted for you in their ideal dilution ratio. So just be aware of that. And if that's something you want to look into more, you can talk to the wellness advocate that invited you to the study.
All right, so let's get on with our phase 2. So for the digestion people, we're switching from an oil to a supplement. So Terrazyme is a digestive enzyme, and it can benefit wide range, just like Digestive Zen, of issues. You see here's the same issues: bloating, gas, heartburn, nausea, indigestion. It is they are pancreatic enzymes, what we call proteolytic, and they help with the digestion of all of our substances that we are taking in. So proteins, fats, complex carbohydrates, sugar, fiber. There's even specific enzymes in here that helps us with digesting dairy, the lactose in there, and also gluten. So there's specific gluten enzymes that help with that. And it is a whole food enzyme complex. And it's really, really great. So a lot of these things, I'm going to give everyone a little pearl or tip, but you're not allowed to use it until after the study. Okay. Does everyone promise me that? Is that most of these things, these are like different options we want during the study to have people feel does work better that for you, one or the other. But after the study, really, a lot of these things work really well together and using both of them. Like a lot of times with digestion issues, we will suggest Terrazyme and Digestion, right? To be kind of working on two different levels, the same way you'd be working with the LLV and some oils. So, but not during the study. Okay. So the protocol is basically to take it with your 3 main meals. Now, if you happen to not be a main meal person and you snack during the day, or you have 6, you're working it up and you're doing kind of like 6 smaller meals, that's okay. Choose your kind of your biggest meals, your most main meals, and then target those, okay? And depending on the dosage you were given, we're looking for 1 to 3 Terrazymes per each of those meals. And so you see here, there's a little bit of a range because everyone is different with, like, if you're a larger person, you would take probably more like at the 2 or 3 range. If you don't weigh that much, you might take a little bit less. And then it has to do with how big your meal is. So if you're having a light meal, you would take maybe 1 or 2. If it's a bigger, heavier meal, you'd go to 2 or 3. If you're definitely eating things that are, might be challenging for you, so let's say pizza or pasta, and you're having gluten and dairy together, 3. Okay.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. And definitely if it's more cooked and processed. So when we cook and process our foods, we're taking out and killing the active enzymes in the food. So you're going to look at that level. If you're having a lot of salad and good light stir fries and things that are not heavily cooked and raw foods, you might need less. So you'd be more on the 1 to 2 range. But if you're having a fully cooked meal or with processed foods, you're definitely going to want to go towards the 2 and 3 range. Okay, so hopefully that is clear for everyone. So that's what you're going to be working on with the digestion study. The pain study, we're switching going from blend to blend. So we first tried the Deep Blue blend, and now we're going to work with the Aroma Touch blend. Oh my gosh, they're both so great. So the Aroma Touch has cypress, peppermint, marjoram, basil, grapefruit, and lavender. Probably the big thing to remember about Aroma Touch is it helps more, like if you're going to compare it to Deep Blue, it has a little bit more action with circulation and helping move energy and fluids in the body. So when you think about like stuck energy or edema, swelling that can happen in the lower extremities, and that idea of you want to move water, move that action and get circulation going in your body. This is Aroma Touch's claim to fame. And the herb in there that's really well known for that is the cypress. Now, you have peppermint, so that's your mint, that's in both of them. And then marjoram and basil are two that are specific to Aroma Touch, and they're incredible for helping with cramps, muscular tissue, cramping pain, stabbing pain, all the different kind of aches, pains that are in the muscular tissue. Marjoram and basil have a lot of affinity for that. I just wanted to go over those. So same things. You're going to work with to promote relaxation, lessen tension, pain, inflammation. Its subname is the massage blend. It's a wonderful oil to use during and for a massage. We're going to use it same way we use the Deep Blue, directly on the area of discomfort, tension, or pain 3 times a day. So if it's sore muscles, you're going to put it directly there. You can use, some people are working with a carrier oil, some people are not. You can sort of play around and try it both ways. If it's a headache, you're just going to have a little on your fingertips and wherever the headache is, if it's temples, frontal area, or working here in the back of the neck, around, you're going to be placing it there. Same indication, not as intense as the Deep Blue to wash your hands afterwards. The Deep Blue has wintergreen, peppermint, and camphor. These are the most intense mints that are the ones that can really stick on your eyes. And then if you go wash, rub your eyeball, you're like, 30 seconds of discomfort. Okay. So it's fine. It's just, I haven't, Aroma Touch is not quite as intense and as that. So again, I'm going to give you a little, is this like a spoiler alert? Yeah, that's what I'll call it. Spoiler alert is that during the study, we're just going to use the Aroma Touch for right now for the next 5 days. However, one of my personal favorite, and I know many people's, is this concept called layering, where you put one oil on and then another, and maybe even another. So you can use a couple of them simultaneously, and you just rub one in and then the next. And this is one of my favorite combinations, actually, is to put Aroma Touch on and then Deep Blue. And you guys are experiencing the Deep Blue rub, but Deep Blue also comes in a straight oil combination, so no carrier oil. And then it also comes in a touch version, so you already have it diluted. And so I love to use the Aroma Touch and the Deep Blue, that's confusing, touch version. Because Aroma Touch is not a touch version, that's just the name of the blend. That's pretty confusing, isn't it? Anyways, so there's no carrier oil in the Aroma Touch blend, but in the one I'm talking about with the Deep Blue, there is. And so that's my little bit of carrier oil, and I like to layer that way. And we'll go into other combinations after the study for people. But that's my spoiler alert, that they're wonderful together as well.
Josie,
So,
I'd like to add that I know some people love the scent of Deep Blue, and some people don't care for it as much.
Right.
I personally love the scent of Aroma Touch. It's a lot. Yeah,
me too.
And so take some time with this one and, bring it onto your hands and take a few long, deep breaths of it, especially if you have neck tension or head tension or headache going on. And hopefully for those of you that didn't love the Deep Blue, you'll really like the scent of Aroma Touch. I'll be curious to hear your response.
Yeah, they're quite different, the scents. And so this is wonderful to really sort of start to see the range of when you make these different blends. And another thing is the icy hot sensation that you get with the Deep Blue, you will not feel that going on as much with the Aroma Touch. If anything, the Aroma Touch is just more gently warming. So it has a different effect in that respect as well.
Yeah, great.
Okay. And for stress and anxiety, we're working with a single herb, lavender. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
We love balance. And then in the same way, in totally different thing, arena, right? We love lavender. Lavender is one of the most beloved common used essential oils. And it is what we like to the Swiss Army knife of essential oils. It is good for so many things because it has such a broad chemistry. So in its actual chemistry of what makes it up, it is able to work within our cells and our receptors and our bodies in so many different ways. This is why it's good for so many different things. And one of the things we have really seen is that the proof in the pudding with this CPTG, with this doTERRA difference, with an oil like lavender, because it's so often used. There is a lot of non-CPTG lavender out there, and we see so many people talking about how they have bad responses or allergic or don't do well with lavender. And what we have found definitely over working over the years and working with this is that does not happen hardly at all in the same way with the CPTG lavender. And so really what we're seeing is when people are responding and say they have a bad response or an allergic to lavender, they're allergic to synthetic lavender, the synthetic additives or the impurities that are so commonly in non-therapeutic grade certified pure lavender. And so that's one thing I like to point out, and it becomes very clear with this. So we're inviting everyone in the stress and anxiety to move to this single oil, and we're going to be using it in the same way you used balance. So 3 times a day, taking a few drops at the palm of your hands, and then hopefully 3, but if you're at work and it's busy and if you can just take 1, that's going to work too. 1 nice deep inhalation. What I would like to plant a seed here as well is while you're putting it on the palm of your hands, also rub it down here. So one of the things later on, I don't usually during my day when I'm using a topical oil, we want you to really get the cupping with the study. But what I like to do personally is I will put my essential oils right here on my wrists. I'll do a drop and rub my wrist. So this makes it so I don't have to kind of wash my hands off. And I go like this, and I get the same inhalation going like this. But what I've just done is I've activated all of the meridian lines that we know, all the 6 in our entire organism in our body that we know of from Chinese medicine. And so when you rub it in here, you're getting that activation point as well on the meridians. And so as you're rubbing into your palms, if you just want to rub down here and go like this, that will do it. So it's a little extra point for everyone. And to please, hopefully you have enough with your sample bottles to be able to do this as well as much as you need to. So as needed during the day with stress and anxiety, because that's a little more subjective one, and to be able to do it if you need to more than the 3 times a day.
Thank you, Jos. I just want to add one thing because I'm just reading Stephanie's comment on the Facebook feed about adding this to her daughter's rash. And we're using lavender specifically for this one use, but I do want to give lavender a little bit of a plug that it is one of we call it our Swiss Army knife oils, and it is good for everything, skin, rashes. It's an antihistamine. It's a really powerful essential oil that does so many things. So know that it has such a much broader scope than what we're even using it for in our study. And the great thing about lavender is it's an oil that if you're feeling really low and down, or you're feeling really amped up and hyper, it will bring you back to center. So it will bring you back to a place of homeostasis as you need it. So it's really a very diverse essential oil. Okay, anything else we want to add here? Okay, we're gonna wrap this
I
up.
have a comment on the Terrazyme.
Oh, do you go ahead?
Yeah, I just wanted to add with Terrazyme, because I know a lot of people with digestive problems have food sensitivities. It is non-GMO. It doesn't have any gluten in it. It doesn't have any dairy in it. And we are also planning to, or have already posted, a full list of what's in the Terrazyme to the Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook, just ask the person who invited you to send it to you separately.
Yeah, those will post tomorrow with our product information overview. And then also keep in mind that you're finishing phase 1 today, and you're actually starting all of these new protocols tomorrow. Okay, so we have the memes on the Facebook page that will show you, like we did last time, what the protocol is. You can find them there. And then just to kind of go over a couple things. So when we're done, you're going to complete your exit survey, and we will post that on the page, and you can get alerted from this from the person that invited you. But do please continue to keep a journal about how you feel and note changes. And also even noting those changes on Facebook is a really great way just to keep track of that, just to do that daily check-in and let us know how it's going. Super helpful for you then to be able to reflect back on that. And again, we said this, take time to enjoy the oil and inhale it. And, you know, some people have said, I don't know if it's the taking that moment that's making me feel better, or the combination of all the above. And I really think it is the combination of all the above. It is the moment to give yourself even a moment to take a breath, to inhale the oil, to give yourself a moment of self-soothing that is healthy and supportive to you. And it's the combination of creating that new pattern and that new habit in your life that can be life-changing over time. And then again, ask yourself, am I calmer? Does my stomach feel better? Is my heart beating slower? Has my pain decreased? And notice if you felt better right away, a few minutes later, a half an hour later. And then again, we spoke to this at the beginning of the webinar, but not everything is the same for all people. So we just invite you to stay committed to the process and to your own personal journey. And we're committed to helping you find some solutions. Please do continue to check in with your support person. I highly recommend getting on the phone for a quick chat rather than just doing texts or emails, so you can really share information about how you're feeling and get feedback and get support in a way that it's harder to do via email or text. So if you just take do that one or two times this week is really enough, but that's really important. And then we love seeing all of you on Facebook. It's really great. If you just check in once a day, we will continue to have some fun education. We have some more science coming. We have a couple more videos for you. We hope that you've enjoyed the information and that you found that valuable. So we have some more of that coming for the new products that we're doing this week. And that will wrap us up for our webinar section. So we're going to leave this time the recording on, but we're going to go to Q&A. So you can either write out your question on the text feed, or if you write it on Facebook. I'm also keeping an eye on the Facebook chat. And if you don't have any questions and you're watching this recording, you can just stop it here. But it was requested that we record the Q&A section. So give me just a moment to stop sharing my screen, and so we can take a look at the questions. And let's see if you have any, we'll take a second just to look these over. I love seeing everybody's comments about the LLV and how much they have been supportive to them. It's really great. So thank you everyone for sharing those. And great, somebody shared, I'm a licensed massage therapist and find so many of my clients respond extraordinarily well to the marjoram and basil, both in aroma touch on sore muscles or aches that have injuries they are nursing. You know, when I get a massage, I typically take aroma touch with me and ask my massage therapist to use it. It is for sure my most favorite massage oil. And then one more share. It's hard for me to see who it's from. I think maybe Lynn or Linda. This is from Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
Love our Lifelong Vitality Pack. Took a while for my body to acclimate and build up to a full dose, underlining illness and sensitivities when I started, but now thrive more than ever taking them. Keeps my energy and mood much more stable. So it doesn't look like we have any questions. Oh, here's a question from Helen. Is it okay to dilute AromaTouch? And if so, by how much? Yes, it's absolutely okay to dilute all the oils. And again, this is going to depend a little bit on your sensitivity. So I would start with a drop to like a little teaspoon of oil, would you say would be a good ratio,
Well,
Stephanie?
usually for adults for massage, it's 3 drops per teaspoon. But that's for massage application. So if you're just doing a small area, you can even do like 1 or 2 drops of carrier oil with a drop of essential oil.
Yeah. So absolutely give that a try. Okay. Anything else?
I'd like to say, for dilution is so personal, right? There's like technical massage applications, but for your own personal usage, that can be like a 1-to-1. That's what we call ratio of 1 drop of the essential oil to 1 drop of carrier oil. Let's say you're just doing it on your neck. And once you've done a patch test, you're fine with the sensitivity to it. What I found it comes down to is a lot of the times that easy usage for people because of like during the day. I know personally for myself, this was one of the really ahas about certified pure therapeutic grade is not having to dilute them, because one of the things I didn't like actually about using essential oils was having to dilute them. And then I kind of don't like all that oiliness of the carrier oils on me sometimes. I just don't, I'm not into it. And a lot of times it's the carrier oil that is what goes rancid. And so I'd make these blends and then that would go rancid and I would be like, oh. So just being able for myself personally, and I know a lot of people at doTERRA, being able to use the blend straight up, feels better. And then sometimes I'll take something like a touch version that is already diluted and I'll just use that as a little bit of my carrier oil, and or not. It's not more effective to use them without carrier oil. Let's be clear about that. Like the carrier oil helps keep the essential oils in our skin and to absorb slower. So it's kind of like a time release capsule. It's really great. It's just a personal choice. And we have that choice now with CPTG oils, whereas before we didn't. It wasn't as safe. So that's my personal version of the carrier oils.
Thank you. I think Itis Forge is how this name is coming up. It looks like you're raising your hand. So I'm going to bring you on, your screen on. And if you want to, here, let me unmute you. You can ask your question. Let's see. Oops. Hold on.
I think unmute is underneath that.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
She says it's here. Can I add AromaTouch to a diffuser?
Oh,
yes.
Great. Thank you.
AromaTouch is, it's really, really yummy in a diffused. So by all means, yes.
Yeah. AromaTouch is fantastic. I love AromaTouch. I also use it for menstrual cramps. And sometimes I'll layer that with the deep blue over it, but sometimes the deep blue, if you find the deep blue to be too cooling, then you can use the AromaTouch. And sometimes I use it with lemongrass. We haven't talked about lemongrass, but lemongrass is a wonderful, really warming oil if you respond more. So that would come after the study, of course.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to give you guys a teaser. Josie and I worked yesterday on creating a list of oils for all the different topics that we're covering. So you'll bring to your awareness some of the other things that you can look at bringing in for different issues. And then again, you can talk to your wellness advocate about that, and we'll post that later in the week. So right now we're just going to focus on the lavender and the AromaTouch and the Terrazyme.
I had kind of a miraculous experience with the AromaTouch. Actually, when I was first getting started, I had chronic hip pain, had to quit running. I tried chiropractic. I mean, I tried everything, really. And I put 1 drop of it on my hip and woke up the next morning and have never had hip pain again. And I was like limping. Wow. It was amazing. It was really amazing. Wow. So I love this oil. I hardly even use it now. It was just like I had that experience and I'm like, okay, I believe the oils work.
Yeah.
But I hope some of you will have that same thing happen to you.
We do promise you, if you haven't had a like, oh wow moment, it really is just a matter of time. So again, for anyone that's feeling like, well, this isn't working for me, I'm not feeling anything, if you stick with it, if you try possibly some different oils and you keep using them, in time, I find that everybody has their wow moment. And sometimes it can be for something that you're not even expecting to address.
Mm-hmm.
You'll think that you're working on something and then something else gets better. So yeah, it's bound to happen if you just stick with it. Okay, I think that we're answered all the questions, and I want to let all of you get on with your day. It takes me a little bit of time to process this call, but I will do that as fast as I can, and then I will post the link on the Facebook page. So if you need to share it with anybody that's not on Facebook, I'll have that up just as soon as possible. And then we'll have our final wrap-up webinar on Friday. And so please join us for that wrap-up webinar, and we'll look to see you all on the Facebook page during the week. And thank you all so much, everyone. We'll see you all later. Bye.
Bye.